Welcome back. Our next guest is Zach Hawkins, a state representative, a former DPS teacher, and a current DPS parent. He is one of 3 co-chairs leading DPS Foundation's Accelerating Digital Equity Program. And Representative Hawkins, good to see you. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And anytime I get a chance to talk about Durham Public Schools and public education, I'm always in.
Well, you seem like you're pretty busy. What got you involved in the foundation?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I'm glad to be a founder along with Larry Hurst and Megan Gonzalez Smith and many others, because there was a gap. There was a gap that existed, and I realized it when I was a teacher. Teachers would get there as early as possible, work all day, stay after school, but for the extras, there was no mechanism to ensure that we were partnering with private entities and alumni and friends and parents to help DPS move forward in a strong direction and really take advantage of all of the resources that Durham has to provide. And so we all sort of had the opportunity almost 2 years now to get together and start to dream about what this could be. We looked at examples from across the country, but we knew that Durham would do it our way. We would do it the Durham way. And it's turned into an incredibly beautiful outfit, and it's such a value add and has already put us in a space where we're seen as thought leaders in the education space.
Well, you're trying to raise $1.5 million. It seems like a lot of money to me.
It's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. It is, and I'm by day I'm a fundraiser, and so I know that that's no small amount of change. And one thing though that we have done with the foundation is we've, when the pandemic first started, we had the opportunity to again become a thought leader and to put ourselves in a space to create an opportunity to support students and families. And through that, we were able to really, get in the good graces of a lot of people who support making sure that students get what they need. And so this $1.5 million that we're about to raise, we feel good about it because we know that Durham steps up when it's supposed to. And not only are they stepping up when they're supposed to, but they're stepping up now for a really good cause. This campaign that you mentioned, this $1.5 million campaign, is meant to accelerate digital equity. And what that means is we want to make sure that any person that, especially because of the pandemic that's been impacted, that's a student, gets what they need. They should have a device that they can use to do their work. We want to make sure in this new norm that we do the absolute most we can to reach out to friends and neighbors, alumni and parents, to surround them with the incredible support that they all need. And so that also comes with making sure that teachers that didn't know how to teach virtually before know how to do it. As a teacher, I know that I would be completely lost, moving into this new norm. So we want to help them, but we also want to help the parents and the students who may have ongoing sort of tech issues. We want to make sure that especially because of the pandemic, and we've seen this across North Carolina, that COVID-19 and the pandemic have shown that access to the internet is absolutely essential. And so for parents and families that don't have access, we have to make sure they get it. But then lastly, we have these learning centers. And as I mentioned, I'm a parent who's struggling just like every parent out here to make this new norm work. But I think about, especially because my younger 2 boys have autism. And for people that have kids with disabilities, or for students who just need a little extra help, we don't want to leave them behind and have them sitting behind the computer, not getting that one-on-one social distance, that small group work that they need to succeed. Because at the other end of this, we have to be able to set kids up for the 21st century economy, which could have them working from home, which could have them doing all kinds of things that the future will bring. And so that's why this campaign is so important. And I'm really hoping that everybody, digs deep to help us raise this $1.5 million.
Well, you mentioned the learning centers, and I know you also mentioned you were a teacher, and how it is. My heart goes out to the teachers who are trying to teach virtually without that one-on-one personal interaction. It's tough, but the learning center says, tell me a little bit more about that. How does that help, like a kid who who doesn't have a parent there, or, the learning centers, there's a lot more involved than just the digital equity, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And and part of this, you talk about a personal incentive to be involved. I want to make sure that I'm helping teachers that would have been like me in this situation, right? When I was a teacher, I could not have imagined switching at the drop of a dime to a virtual environment and still getting my lesson across. And so, being able to help them means everything. And part of what that does, again, for students in the learning center environment that you just mentioned, is you're right. Some students have IEPs. Some students, like you said, have working families who have to go to work to make ends meet. We have to make sure that the kid doesn't get sacrificed in that process. But most importantly, you get a chance to see it. A student gets a chance to see a person. Does that make sense? That needs it. They get a chance to get that affirmation they got something right. They get a chance in a socially distanced way to be around peers, and especially if they have tech issues, that they get those taken care of right on the spot. And so it's not something that we need to take lightly, that this has been hard for kids, right? Especially for younger kids. And so my hat's off to Superintendent Mbanga and through the DPS Foundation for both wanting to step up to make this happen. Because if we did not, what would happen to those kids? And I don't think anybody wants to answer that question. Does that make sense? And so that's why everybody should get on board to ensure that students have all the learning tools that they need.
Well, I'll tell you what, I wish you all the luck that's out there, and I hope that people watching today will also send you lots of money, because it's certainly a worthy cause. And sir, thank you for taking some time for us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. And if anybody, of course, wants to support, they can find us at DPS Foundation on our website, on Facebook and Instagram, on Twitter, and of course they can give. And so no dollar is too small, but no gift is too big. So whatever they want to do, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you. And we'll be right back with more on how Durham is using their resources to support their students and families. Stay tuned.